Thank you for joining us as we interview the greatest minds in cyber at the Elisity Studio at RSAC 2026 in San Francisco. I'm William Toll, and today I have Roger Hale, 7-time CISO. Roger, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So RSAC 2026, a lot of talk about AI, a lot of activity, but I'm curious, what is the one conversation that people should be having but are not?
So AI is the new, if you don't have it, you're not applicable right now, right? So, but the conversation that really is going to come back to resiliency, right? Everything that's going on right now, everything is more segmented, everything is more microservices, more distributed, and in that area, the resiliency of your organization and how that you're able to maintain your services when things don't go well really needs to be a little bit stronger conversation.
Cyber resilience, there's so many different ways we could take that, but help me understand some of the key aspects of a tool stack and the people, processes, and technologies that would be in place to ensure cyber resilience.
Well, there's more components to cyber resilience, right? And the tech stack is one, but it's the implementation of the tech stack. And so I don't want to name one or two companies in that area because there's so many good companies and they all have value. But the tech stack is there to provide that communication path and in that, what you need to look at more from the cyber resiliency standpoint is that you don't have a single point of failure, right? And that your communication is able to fail over, continue to flow before human intervention and someone even gets an alert going. The expectation on the internet now and for everything is real time. It's not, we'll get it back up in 10 minutes. And so when we look at cyber resiliency, we're looking at how do you operate a business where this is what your customers are looking for, this is what the end users are looking for, and they don't have an attention span today to have that patience.
That's right.
If not, they're going to move. They're going to move on to someone else, and that can impact a company's business model.
And cyber resilience has all sorts of implications across the security team, the IT team, OT teams, right? We think about manufacturing and cyber resilience. There's millions of dollars at stake.
Absolutely. And what you've got different primary requirements in that area, right? You've got the technology group who has to get right back up and has to have that immediately that there was a small hiccup, but we're still going again. While at the same point in time, if you go look at cyber resiliency, the concept is, okay, I got hit once, I'm going to get hit, I'm going to be attacked, there will be an event, it's not if but when. How do you respond to that? And so in that process, while you still need that automated response and failover to be able to continue to operate, you have to be able to have all the logs, you have to have the information, and you have to do that investigation, figure out what's wrong, and then look at how do we stop that from happening again. And when you do that, that's also the component, because another thing that's missed in all these conversations is if you're a cloud company, and everyone's a cloud data company today, everyone has business insurance, but do they have cybersecurity insurance? And what does it take to get that cybersecurity insurance to pay off? Because there has been some very public breaches where they did not meet their contractual obligations with that cybersecurity. So they have to be able to have that information. They have to be able to do that investigation. If they can't prove that, then their cybersecurity insurance doesn't pay out. And so that hurts the entire company.
And when you think about the teams that have to meet those requirements for cyber insurance, and we think about the boardroom conversations, what do you think boards need to understand better about cybersecurity?
So this is actually starting to change, and if you look at the NACD, which is the National Association of Corporate Directors, they're starting to see this now, and you're starting to see some change, but they need a cyber professional on the board. They need someone that they trust, or they need to build their relationship with their CISO to be able to have those trusted conversations, to understand the impact beyond the immediate dollar impact, because quantification of risk is still a challenge. I know some great people that have taken some great strides in that area, but it's a hard conversation when you're looking at monies today versus monies next year and how you invest that. So the understanding of the true risk and how that breaks down needs to be better understood. And the CISOs are learning how to speak finance, to speak to their boards, but it's always amazing when you have at least one person on the board that can speak security.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I was at a talk yesterday here at RSAC, and there was a conversation about building that level of trust with the board where you can honestly say, in this case, AI, right? How secure is the AI that your organization's implementing? You can't say, we're good, it's secure, right? You have to say, look, we know about 60 some odd %, we've got good controls around, about 9%, we've got some compensating controls, and the rest we're figuring out.
So, and that's the start of every risk conversation, though.
Right.
And so it's absolutely right. It must have been a great conversation. I wish I would have heard it, right? Because the goal isn't do everything today. And I actually had a conversation with a board where they asked, Roger, if we give you all the people and all the money you're asking for, will we be secure? And the response was, my response was, if you don't support the entire program, not a project, and give me monies and people as we grow, then we can't be secure. But remember, security is not a perfect. It's always going to be a risk-based quantification, and you're never going to reach a perfect number. So where are you at today? Where are you at tomorrow? Did you move the needle in the right direction? That's your board conversation.
That's interesting. So if you could snap your fingers today and pick a cyber domain or a technology or a process or even people or AI, right? What do you think would move the needle in a significant way to improve the cyber posture of an organization?
Can I snap a lot? I want to snap a lot.
Okay.
There are a couple snaps, right? When you look at most cyber resiliency policies, the idea about cybersecurity insurance doesn't come in, and that should be part of your quantification. Just like business insurance, there's risks you can take as long as you can meet those guidelines because you've got that protection. But there's a lot of noise right now about non-human identity management. And I would love to snap my finger and stop the conversation about non-human identity and have the conversation just about identity. The way that we're acting today, the way technology is running today, if you're an AI bot, if you're an API call, if you're a human, if you're a service account, right? That interaction, the UBA about how and what you're doing and what you actually have access to, needs to be a holistic conversation, not a them versus us conversation.
Us versus them.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. If you were advising someone just getting started today in cyber, what would some of the advice you'd give them?
So it's maybe a little bit provoking, but I would encourage anyone who wants a career in cyber, if they're first starting out, to practice being uncomfortable. Right? We're not, we're not the group of people that sits back and waits for something to happen. Not if we're going to be effective. We're not the people that comes into the role where we're very comfortable speaking with board of directors and the CEO, right? We're not the people that, we do know tech or we do know compliance really well. To do our jobs well, we have to be able to speak business at the individual contributor level, at the mid-manager level, and at the executive level. And so the only way you do that and get that ability is by experience and practice. So the parts of the role, the parts of the opportunities that are uncomfortable, lean into those. Start having the comfort zone of being uncomfortable and willing to step forward and put yourself forward in positions that maybe you're not the expert in. And that's how you learn the fastest, and that's how you build that comfort level to where what's uncomfortable is now something that's more relaxing and doesn't drain you of all your energy for the day.
And gives you the confidence to move forward, right?
It does.
Yeah, that's great advice, Roger. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate being here.
Okay.